Good morning, welcome to my Flosstube. My name is Emily and I'm here to literally show you my cross stitch progress. I'm back on the 22nd of January, so we have done 3 full weeks of the year and I am back on the right day, so I'm trying to film the day after I finish my 7-day stitching, because this year I am not all about the numbers, but I am keeping track because I know I do a lot of stitching and people ask, how do you get so many stitching in? One, I'm a very fast stitcher. I don't know why I'm a really fast stitcher, but I'm a two-handed stitcher. I stitch like this and I am a really fast stitcher. I mostly use Pattern Keeper, which obviously speeds you up incredibly. And other than that, I don't do a lot of other stuff. I drive my car, I look after my kids, I don't need to look after my kids, I ferry my kids around. And the bit I kind of do around the house, I sometimes do the cooking, but not often. Usually when Richard's on a late do I do the cooking. I live with a chef, so I don't really need to cook. He kind of does it. And he does clean down. He does the kitchen. This is something that I find amazing, that is never going to get old, that he does the kitchen and he can't bear it, so he cleans down the kitchen regardless of who has cooked. And I'm not domestic, so a lot of the day-to-day household tasks I don't do. I'm not domestic. I warned Richard on day one that I was not domestic, that life was too short and I would rather be stitching, so I do a lot of stitching. Anyway, we've got ourselves into a nice routine. I do obviously help, but I do like folding up laundry and sorting out laundry, so that's one of the things I will happily do. Anyway, that's partly why I get a lot of stitching in, because I don't do a lot else other than stitching, really. Anyway, that's just a little, I don't know how I get so many stitches in, to be honest. This week has been a dramatically good week for stitching, partly because I have been off work. I'm off work now. I worked five long shifts to Sunday. I've been off since Sunday. I'm off until Sunday, and then I picked up a shift on Monday because somebody left. So I picked up a shift, which is good for me because I was due to have Monday and Tuesday off as well. So I've got a shift on Monday, which is lovely, which makes my hours up for next week. But this is a booked holiday week, so I get holiday pay for this week, which is lovely. We'll be leaving in about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, and I'll be driving Lizzie to London. So up here in North Cumbria, I'm a lot further from the Scottish border than I used to be, but we're right at the top of Cumbria. And I'll be driving down to East London, and I'll be driving back tomorrow morning. So there's no stress, Lizzie's fast asleep, so I've got time to do my video, edit my video, process my video, and then we'll get her sorted, get the car filled up, and head off at some point, probably around lunchtime. So it's absolutely fine. It is currently 10 to 9 in the morning. The light is creeping back into this world, which is wonderful, which means I don't have to wait until 9:30 to film. So let's show you some stitching. I am up to date, 3 weeks in. I'm getting better. I'm getting much more mindful of my spending, but I'll give you a quick flash of my cross stitch page, and as you can see, my stickers are creeping up. There's lots of happy face stickers. I am your atypical child girl, and I got smiley face stickers. There's a holographic. My planner came with a load of stickers, and I also got a pack of shiny hearts. So those are the ones I like. I give myself a smile, I give myself a heart when I complete something that I want to get completed with. So I think I'm doing really well there. I'm filling in more and more as I go. I'm now filling in, I've done every week of the year, and my stitch count for the week, that's 7 full days from the 1st. So it's not going to run like monthly, this is weekly. And then I'm keeping a running total. So for those who are interested, so far in the first 3 weeks of this year, I have stitched 24,277 stitches. in total. And for this week, bear in mind I've been off and I had lates. The pattern is dramatic. 9,255 and up to the end of yesterday. Now, when I'm on an early, it's really, really telling. When I'm on an early, the two days I was on earlies in the last week, 527 and 353 stitches was all I did in the day. Then I switched to lates, 1,313, 1,342 and 1,851, 3 lates. And then 2 days off, which was 2,052 and 1,817 yesterday. So when I'm off, I skate between 1,800 and 2,000 stitches. When I'm on a late, it's between about 1,000 and about 1,500. And when I'm on an early, all bets are off, but I will stitch. So the pattern is clear. And then when I go back to work, I've got a whole week of earlies. So next week's stitching, not this week I'm in currently, but the back end of this 7 days and then into the next one, I'm on earlies. So, you know, my stitching is going to be low for that week, and that is what it is. So I'm going to see what it is. And I do count my stitches on Pattern Keeper, but I don't always write them down, and I have never kept track completely of my paper stitching. And I do have paper patterns, and there's quite a few paper patterns in my whip go this year because a lot of my paper patterns I want finished. So there we go. Right, 7 minutes in and I'm going to do some stitching. So what have I done? This week I have finished 2 of my whip go goals. So the first one I'm going to show you is the Cross Stitch Studio, the Better to See You With picture up here, that I started as my New Year New Start 2021, and it has basically languished with almost nothing in it, like this bit, probably only that bit since 2021. I've done little bits of green here and there in the years that followed. So it has been jumped into my whip go, it's on twice. The goal was 4,500 stitches. I have stitched 4,561 stitches to complete the goal. And to be honest, I could have kept going. I easily could have kept going. So last time I filmed it looked like this. I stitched down to red and started on red. And now with 1,724 stitches to complete the goal, she looks like this. And I kind of realised that it's all very well stitching in red, but there's going to be, I'm going to do her and then be bored of the rest. So for every red strand I was putting in, I'm now putting in a strand of something else. So some background, she's on a path, I've just shown the picture, she's on a path leading into the wolf's mouth. So, but from now on, if I put one strand of red in, I will pick a green, I'll pick a background colour here, somewhere within the Q-snap, I will stitch a strand of background, because I think that otherwise I'm going to make no progress. And I know, logically, there is a lot more background than red, because she's just there. But that's just a fun way of sorting it. So before I take this off, well, I'm going to take it off the Q-snap. Before I put it away, I'm going to stitch in all this filament that's hanging off, grid in the rest of this filament, because that was one of the deals I made with myself, that I would grid down to the centre bottom, which I did, but I'm not going to leave these all this filament just dangling here. I will stitch all that in. Obviously it'll need a lot more gridding as time goes on, but that's in time, isn't it? So goal complete, that's number 20. I don't actually have, my plan yesterday was to go and take cash out at the post office, and in the end I dropped and goed at the post office and I completely forgot to take cash out. What I'm going to do this week is go and take some cash out so that I've got a little pot that I can put in, because I am using cash, but I don't want to fill my box with the cash that I'm using for my spends. That's from like a different pot. So I'll do that next week. but I do already owe myself £18. Anyway, so goal 20, one of my goals of 20 is complete. The other goal for 20, I've not finished yet. I have, however, finished goal number 11, which means that my box 11 is completed. So that's one whip go goal done. So in here we have, it's not 11 at all. How is it? It's not 11. Why are my whip go goals for 2 in box 11? Oh my goodness me, did I do a massive muddle up? No, I didn't. I was just wondering why I had my 2s in 11s. That's okay, that's okay. So my 2 whip go goals for box 11 are complete, which means the giveaway will be given away this time. I'm just going to pop him just there. I'm going to show you my number 11. So my goal for number 11, which was Sea Beacon, which is a peekaboo taken from a much larger Haid here, was 4,000 stitches. And before I go on, this is now at 2.2%. It was at 1.6 or something at the beginning of the year. It's now at 2.2%. So it is over the 1% mark now. Anyway, Sea Beacon, goal was 4,000 stitches. I've done 4,064 to complete the goal. I have a funny feeling she's coming out again later this year as well. If she doesn't, she doesn't, but if she does, she does. And last time I showed it to you, it looked like this last week. This week, with 1,505 stitches, she looks like this. So I filled in all of this bit of her hair here. I still haven't done this 939, but I've brought it down. Oh, that's quite better light. I've brought it down quite a lot. Didn't do any face. I thought I would get into the face, but in the end I didn't quite get down into her face. I stayed in her hair. And she is sitting at 35.16%. So I have made a really good chunk of progress into her. Well, 4,000 stitches into her. I'm pretty sure she's coming out again, because otherwise I'd have given her an arbitrary 5,000 stitch goal. And I gave her 4, so I think she's coming out again. So that will be lovely. So she's there. So she's going to come off the Q-snap now and be popped away. I have a bag for her because I've got quite a lot of threads. I was gifted a full kit up of DMC for her, and these are the extras. I've got the rest in a floss box, and most of them are still in there actually. And there's also temperature colours in there, and I can't even remember when the temperature piece I started. I think it was some flying geese or something. It's long been discarded, but there's the most wonderful temperature gradient in there, which I'm not gonna put back in my master set, because I really like that temperature gradient that I've got laid out there, and I think I might use it in the future at some point. Anyway, so Sea Beacon will be put in this and be put at the back of my box, ready to be pulled again. So box 11, I do owe it £12. I will collect that for next week. And this week I will give away this needle minder, which is a very old postage stamp. It has got, oh my goodness me, can I even read that? 19... I can't. I think it's got a date on it. It's quite old. It's a 24p first class stamp. First class postage is now £1.30 something, I think. So gives you a rough idea. It's very elderly. I will look it up. Anyway, it's really lovely. It is a nativity, so it's kind of a Christmassy stamp, but it's quite a lovely nativity. It's got gold on it. You can see it's a lustrous stamp, and it is a mint condition stamp. So it's never been through the postal system. So there we go. I'll give this one away. If you drop me a comment on this video, I'll give this away next week when I put the money in the box. That will remind me to do that. So box 11's giveaway is ready, which is okay, isn't it? That's all right. And next week we'll have a giveaway as well. because I am very close to finishing my 4th Whip Go challenge for the month, which is also in box 20. And it is the second Emma Condon piece, which just happened to pull the 2 Emma Condon pieces in the first month, the way the numbers fell. And it's You Are All Kinds of Amazing. I bought this in a magazine way back when, 2021 sometime. And last time I filmed it looked like this. I still had a fair chunk of the bottom to get on with. And I've put in 2,480 stitches last week, and I've already done 248 stitches today. So it will be done this week for sure, on account that I only have this left to go for the whole month, which we'll talk about in a minute. So 2,480 stitches, and we're here. And we do need something behind it. Let's just borrow this project bag to put behind it. Here. And as you can see, I have one tiger. I did the word, I did the little swirls. We're not going to talk about how wrong, oh, and this flower here, we're not going to talk about how wrong this flower is. Well, we are, because you can see here and you can see here that we're quite a way off, but I absolutely couldn't care less, and there's no way I'm frogging it out. And then I reset my centre line, because obviously this had got itself lost somewhere, because some of this was already in. So the mistake, there was anyway. So I just stitched on from what was already there, and there was a mistake in it. So hey ho. So I put in these tulips, and then I stitched a tiger, and I thought on Sunday, today's the day I finish this. This is last Sunday. Today's the day I finish this piece. No problem. Oh my goodness, these tigers are huge. There's so much stitching in them. It's taken me so long to finish these tigers. Literally today, I've done so well today on this. I've stitched his whole head, and this part of his paws were in this morning. So this is tiger number 2. Tiger number 1 is complete. Very happy with tiger number 1. He is gorgeous. I'm really pleased I did leave it till last, because honestly, if I'd stitched these tigers first, I would never be finishing this piece, because that's the fun bit. I mean, Emma Condon's pieces are always fun, but stitching some flowers versus 2 tigers, yeah, the tigers would have won. So I've actually quite disciplined with myself, and I'm quite surprised that I actually did manage to do it this way round. So I've got 1 tiger to finish here, and this piece will be done. So next week, look out for the giveaway going in from box 20. I'm not going to sneak a peek, so we'll find out next week what my giveaway is going to be, and I'll owe myself another £6, which next week I will have a little pot of cash to put in. I literally just didn't get around to it. And then when I dropped Flora at the station this morning, I thought, oh, I can pop and take some cash out. What I was going to do, I was going to go to the cash machine, take out cash. Obviously you get notes from the cash machine. Duh. I was going to run into Morrison's and buy 3 little items and use the self-serve till, which obviously gives out change. So I thought, right, I'll do that. Loot all the change out of the SCOs, and then didn't have my bank card with me, because if I'm just running out, I'm obviously not carrying anything with me, because then it stops me spending money. So I kind of counterproductively disincentivized myself this morning, and I actually needed it. So I will sort that out for next week. I'm not going to not do it and then end up owing myself hundreds of pounds, because it looks like I can cope with these Whip Go goals. So All Kinds of Amazing, looking brilliant, should be finished by, well, will be definitely finished by next week, unless the sky falls down. You know, that's disaster averting will be the reason I don't finish this. It really should be done in the next couple of days, considering I'm off work. Yes, I've got a long drive today, a stay over in university accommodation tonight. I feel I'll be sleeping on the floor, never mind. And then drive back up tomorrow, and I have an allotted task tomorrow. As I drive north, I am going to stop at every Dunelm I can and buy as much sparkly vinyl as I can, because I have finished the roll. I think only I've purchased from the sparkly vinyl at the Carlisle store is gone. And I asked the lady, and she went, oh, I don't know if we're ever getting that back in again. And I went, you are kidding me, I'm going to die without it. Like, literally. So as I drive north tomorrow, I am going to stop at every Dunelm. I'm literally going to go Dunelms hunting, and if they've got the sparkly vinyl, I am buying several meters of it. Not because I'm going to make thousands of project bags the second I get home, but because I really want it in my stash. And it's not going to hurt me to have a big pile of pre-cut pieces of sparkly vinyl, because I really do. All my bags are sparkly vinyl, and it's what I like to use. So that's my little fun job for tomorrow. And don't tell Maddie, but I'm totally stopping in at Cambridge and getting it from there if they've got it. It's a case of if they've got it, because if they're not getting it back in, I want to get what's in the stores. I'm hopefully going to be able to hit 3 or 4 of them as I drive north. I will be detouring and stopping, and anyway, so I've got the whole day to do it, to drive north. So I'll stop and start and take it easy and have a nice tootle in my dear little car. Yeah. Don't tell Maddie I'm going right through the centre of Cambridge, please. Nobody tell her. She's posting, right. If you I'm jumping subjects here. Maddie, right, very happy, settled into her new job, thrilled to bits that she's now getting like almost full-time wages pay. She's like, she can't believe how much money she's being paid. I'm like, yeah, that's an almost full-time wage pay, darling. That's how it works. She's like, I can save so much money. I'm like, yes, good. Let's do that. Anyway, she has an Instagram page, and it's literally her paintings. There's no obligation to do anything other than look at her pretty pictures. She is at Fiend of the Fell. I'll link her below. I know quite a few of you already follow her. She is now putting up the pictures of those little the constellations she did before Christmas to give to all her Cambridge buddies for Christmas cards. She's putting them up. They are the ones that I want to turn into small, and by small I mean not much bigger than this, full coverage pieces. So they're the ones that I want to chart into nice full coverage pieces. So if you want to go and have a look at those and you think they're going to be lovely stitched up as full coverage pieces, so if you want to go and see what because I've been talking about it a bit. Obviously, I'm nowhere near even thinking about doing it yet. But if you want to go and have a look and see what I mean, that she's posting them at the moment. So, and she really likes getting a few likes here and there, because obviously she's a tiny little and doesn't get very many likes on her pictures. So, yeah. Anyway, it's just pretty artwork. That's all there is to it. Right, jumped around a hell of a lot there. So that's my Whip Go pieces, and it is the 22nd of January, and I've maybe got 2 days left of stitching on that tiger. So I think if every month of the year falls like this, obviously I don't have I don't have a week off every month of the year, obviously. But even in the weeks when I'm working, I'm still averaging around about 1,000 stitches a day. So it looks like I can meet my Whip Go goals. And I now have 9 days of, well, what am I doing now? And I've had I'm at a bit of a quandary, because I was literally like, I am only going to be able to work on my Whip Go pieces, work on Treasure Hunt Bookshelf, maybe get a little bit of the mystery stitch done each time a piece of pattern is released. And now I'm thinking, if I can meet my Whip Go goals, okay, I think these goals were quite low, because they weren't 5,000 stitches, they were 4,000 stitches, but that's like 2 extra days. So I think I've got a bit of free time on my hands. So what I'm going to do is, if I haven't finished my whip, like it's a finish, it's done, I'm going to maybe pull something I want to stitch on. I'm desperate to stitch on a long dog. I will be pulling a long dog. I think I'm going to be pulling Gone to Pieces, is the one I fancy right now. I fancy Pointed Fifth, but I think I'm going to pull Gone to Pieces because it's calling to me, and it's small and it's neat and everything's together. So I think Gone to Pieces I'm going to pull when I put away some of the others. And I'm just going to stitch on it just cause. It's not going to count towards a Whip Go, because it is coming up in Whip Go. It's not going to count towards a Whip Go at all. It's just going to be extra, which will affect next year's because next year I need to stitch half of whatever's left. So if I get more stitches in it, if I get more stitches in something this year, it affects next year, so that's fine, isn't it? So of the 4 that need to be finished in 4 years, because we're now in year 2 of that. So yeah, I think I'm just going to pull something I fancy stitching on. I'm going to get my Whip Go goals boxed out and then stitch on whatever I fancy stitching on while still stitching on the other bits, because I've already done my Mill Hill for the month, which is great. And I might start on next month's Mill Hill. I do have, the other thing I'm thinking about is the Bossy Threads 12 Days of Christmas, which I keep looking around this room because I can usually see it, but I know it's in the bag behind my filming thing. I might pull that out and have a look at it, but I've now got these days where the possibility of 1,000 stitches is there. I'm not going to put 1,000 stitches into the treasure hunt bookshelf every day. I mean, I could, but I know I'll get fatigued doing that. And I'll get fatigued up stitching on it. So I'm going to see what I fancy and stitch on what I fancy. So you might not just see my Whip Go pieces, although it is, at the moment, we're 3 weeks into it and it's fantastic. That's nearly 2 finishes. 1 finish, 1 very nearly finished. And, you know, like 9,500 stitches into 2 whips that I don't normally put anywhere near that amount of work into in a year. So brilliant, absolutely amazing. Thank you, Jessie. This is ace, and I don't know why I didn't think of joining you before. Not that she ever watches me. But yeah, who knew? I mean, everyone knew, apart from me. Right, so the things that aren't on my Whip Go, obviously my treasure hunt bookshelf, which I will show you now. Last week it looked like this. I have not moved my Q-snap, and I've put in, there's half a stitch. Why do I always do half a stitch? Because it parks my thread, but then I just leave the needle just hanging out of it. I've put in 1,855 stitches this week, which is now 31.31%. And where I am now looks like this. So here's the little foxy fox, and I put the Q-snap below him and thought, let's work below him. So I put in a lot of this black, because putting in 2 strands of black in an evening is really, really easy to do when I'm tired, especially if I've been on a late and I still haven't stitched on my treasure hunt bookshelf. I put in 2 strands of black. It's 160, 180 stitches, and brilliant. Yesterday, I put 800 stitches into it yesterday, and I was working in 2 greens up here, and this green and that green there, and then I picked up 3371, the very, very dark brown. It's not 3371, it's the one that ends in 3031 or something. Anyway, it's that very, very dark brown. I found a new skein of that because I didn't have a bobbin in my box, so I think it was with the Barbarana thread, so it's waiting to be put away. I just haven't got around to it yet. 3031, I think it is. And I've put in this will pretty much finish off quite a lot of this. There's just a few little stitches. You can see where I've put the stitches here. There's just a few little stitches of about 12 of the colours, you know, that have like 1 stitch here and 1 stitch there and 1 stitch down here, and you're done with that for now. So I will get around to those as well, but so I've put a good chunk into this. I'm still technically in December stitches, but I'm not terribly worried about that. I'm going to slip further and further and further behind as the year goes on, but that's not my goal this year. I'm trying to adjust my brain so that it's not the percentage, it's stitching on it every day. And I have stitched on it now 21 days in a row. I will stitch on this a little bit before I go, and I will stitch on it when I get home tomorrow. I'm not taking this down with me. I'm going to leave this here, so I need to stitch on this before I go, just so that I have stitched on it, and then I'll stitch on it when I get home tomorrow, so that I have stitched on it. But he's not coming with me because he's too big. I think I'm just going to take Gone to Pieces with me, because I'll probably only get a few strands in tonight, if any at all. And again tomorrow morning I might just get a few strands in. I just like having a cross stitch with me. If I get stuck in traffic, if we are stopped in a traffic jam, like engine off stopped, of course I'm going to stitch if we're engine off stopped. Why wouldn't I? If you're just literally sitting in like there's been something horrible happen and the motorway's literally closed, but you're on it. We've all done that. We've all been stuck on a road that we're stuck on. But not that I want that to happen, of course. I want to just have a nice smooth ride down, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so the last thing I have stitched on this week is the Cross Stitch Studios Mystery Stitch Along. And last time I filmed it looked like this. We've got page 1 and page 2 out at the moment. And now it looks like this. So page 1 is here, page 2 is here. And I'm not doing what I said I was going to do, which was as soon as page 2 comes out, I'm not going to stitch on page 1 anymore because that's done and dusted. I'm not doing that because that's silly. So I put in quite a lot of stitches into page 2, mostly ecru. I had one day where I put like 1200 stitches, mostly into page 2. And what I'm doing is if there's still stitches in page 1 of that colour, I'm finishing that off. So there was still stitches of ecru in page 1. So when I did all the ecru stitches in page 2, I did them in page 1. So I've done quite a bit here, because you can see this orange here, there's some on page 1. So why on earth would I not just pull up the pattern, search for the colour and go, yeah, I've got 3 stitches in that colour, rather than go back to it later and have to pull a new strand and throw, you know, and then do it again. So that's where that's what that looks like. I'll give you my stats now. So page 1, in total I've stitched 1691 stitches into the piece. Page 1 is at 1499 stitches, which is 37.48%. Page 2 is at 1413 stitches, which is 35.32. So basically they're even at the moment. So we're at about 35% of both of that page and that page. And what I'm doing now, rather than picking a colour along the bottom and stitching up and then picking the next colour, which is how I started it off, and is probably how I'll start each page off until I go rogue. I'm currently going rogue, and I've just lost my thread because Richard just come downstairs and was like at me through the at me through the door. Yeah, so what I'm doing now is I started at the top, so I started with 165 and there was 5 stitches in this one and 3 stitches in this one, so I did those stitches. And then 169, there was I think 5 stitches, yeah, 5 stitches in page 2, and there was 97 or something stitches in page 1, so I've done those. So I'm now picking the next colour in the line and stitching them. And I was aiming to stitch any colour under 10 stitches. So literally the confetti. 4 stitches in this piece, 2 stitches over here, 5 stitches here, 3 stitches here, you know. And what I've decided to do, because I'm a thread hoarder, and I've decided to let it go. So if I pull a strand from my floss ring, and even if I only stitch on it for 8 stitches, I'm not putting the floss back on the ring. I'm going to throw that strand away, because I have full skeins of the colours for this piece of CXC, which is more than I'm ever going to need of this. I finally finished bobbinating them. I sorted my brain out. I did have a brain issue with it. But if I pull a strand off, I'm not putting it back. So even if I've got this much thread left, I'm not keeping it. I'm not going to fuss putting it back on the floss drop. Once it's gone, it's gone. And the only colours that are going to I need more than a whole skein of, I've bought extra skeins. And I'm not completely sold on the CXC. I find maybe it's my fierce stitching, maybe it's the fact that it's brand new Ada, but I'm finding it shreds. I don't shred DMC. DMC is beautiful. I'm a DMC girl. I'm not converted to CXC, but that might be my stitching style because I know I'm ferocious. And I'm finding it's very bitty and very shreddy. I'm finding it's knotting up as I'm stitching, which is infuriating, which I don't generally get this problem with DMC ever. So I'm not converted. Anyway, so I don't mind if these are not going in my master set when I'm done at all. These are not DMC. So I don't mind if I'm slightly wasteful, is what I'm saying. I'm giving myself permission to be slightly wasteful. Now, I had a problem with this. I have only just finished bobbinating these, putting them on the floss drops yesterday, because I bought 100 of these. I bought a pack of 100 white keychain tags. There's 90 something colours in this piece. I didn't have enough tags. So my brain's obviously lost a bundle of them somewhere. I bought 100, I needed 90. Technically, there should be some, but I didn't have enough. And it made me malfunction because I needed to find them to finish the job. Well, I've let it go. I used my little stamp, my little floss drop stamp, the tiddly tiny one, and you know what? I cut myself 28 paper floss drops, and I've just put them in. They're about the same size. Yes, they're nowhere near as sturdy, but it solved my problem because these were all over the living room, all over the arm of the sofa in the living room, waiting to be bobbinated. All the 3000s. I'd done some, which is why we're hit and miss. I'd done the ones I'd used, and then done some that I had, and I'd separated up the colours that I needed in page 1 and page 2, and I'd put them on the plastic things. But then there were the other ones. So I gave myself permission to just use cardboard, and it sorted it. And these are now living in my treasure hunt bookshelf bag because my treasure hunt bookshelf is out constantly and doesn't need to be bagged. And they are living. I broke them all up onto little rings because there's so many of them. So they are just dangling in there. So I can just pull up the ring with the number on, find it, pull one strand off, and then I'm not putting it back on because I'm just not. Life's too short. And again, I had to give myself permission to do that because my brain wants to hoard, it wants to keep, it wants to save. So I've given myself permission to throw away strands of CXC thread. Just a strand, not a whole 6-piece, one strand of the 6 that's about this long. So yeah, I gave myself permission for that. So I'm going to carry on. This coming up week, I've got You're All Kinds of Amazing to finish. I've got a tiger's body to do. I've got stitching every day into my treasure hunt bookshelf, which I'm going to go and do momentarily. And I've got my cross stitch studio piece. My next piece won't come out until I assume the 31st of January, page 3. So for there, I'll carry on with that. Sea Beacon, we're going to pop away because I'm happy that I've reached a good point on her. So I'm going to pop her away into her bag until we see her again. Pretty sure she's in Whip Go again. So I'm going to pop her in there, back away, neat and tidy in her bag. And yeah, coffee. Hello, love.
Hiya.
Thank you. I'm nearly finished. I'm just wrapping up, so won't be a minute. He's on a late, so I just woke him just before I started my video. So all kinds of amazing. It's to finish back into my box, and I'm going to put red back in my the better to see you with back into my whip basket, just because I might do some more stitching on it. But if I don't do any more stitching on it, I'm at least going to stitch in the gridding before I put it away. So I have another empty Q-snap. That's 2 empty Q-snaps. Who am I? literally, who am I? There's a magnet there, so I'm just going to collect up my little collection of needles knocking around there. What have they stuck themselves to? Oh, a needle minder in the drawer below. I've got some spare needles there, always very valuable now, because I like what are they called? Millard 26s, and I used to buy them in little bumper packs of 25s. Yeah, I can't Millwood. Yeah, I can't get them anymore in the little packets. Very sad. I can buy 5 or 6 of them at a time. I used to buy them 25 at a time and have them in everything. Anyway, these are the literal tiddly tiny little needles I use for everything. They're literally, what, 3 centimetres long? They 28s? They're 28s. Yeah, I love them. I sometimes use a bigger needle if I have to. My bothy threads are on a bigger needle. Something else has got a bigger needle. Anything that's kit, like the cheap knockoff Chinese kits, they've got bigger needles in them, but they're 3 strands. Right guys, this has got very long. I'm very happy with my stitching progress, and I'm going to go and pull Gone to Pieces so that I've got something different to stitch on. I'm going to go and put Sea Beacon away, pull out Gone to Pieces, and go and do some stitching on my treasure hunt bookshelf, because I need to today. And then I'm going to churn the laundry, wake up Lizzie, and drive to London. As you do. That's why I've got the week off work. Righto guys, I will see you in 7 days. All being well, I'll see you in 7 days. Hopefully with another 7 days worth of stitching to show you. And we'll see how we get on. Yeah, leave me a comment if you want to be entered into a lucky dip for that particular needle minder there, out of box number 20. Box number 11. Box number 11. And next week, assuming I have finished the other Emma Condon piece, we will have a look and see what I can give away from box 20. So that's going to be great. I will see you next week. Hope everybody else's whip go and general stitching is going as well as mine is. For your goals, I'm meeting my goals. It's making me very happy. I will draw some cash out because I was like, yeah, I've always got £6 lying around. Yes, I have, but it's in my cash pot, which I'm using rather than using my bank card, which is working out quite well for me at the moment. Now I've become a lot more mindful. I almost spent all of it in the first week and a half and then went, I'm running out now. I need to be more careful. So now I'm being more mindful of what I'm spending. So it's working out. Oh, other thing I was going to say that I've totally forgotten to say is I am up to date. eBay orders, needle minder of the months, and Flossmas giveaways and the bag from the Whip Parade are in the post. As of yesterday, they are in the post. So this is really good. I am completely up to date. I had quite a few of my Needle Minder of the Month Club people haven't this month. If you do want it, and I've sent you an invoice, I have already sent out the reminders, but if you're watching this and you think, oh crikey, I haven't checked my emails, and you do want it, obviously you've got until, if you pay the invoice, I'll send it, basically. If you don't pay the invoice, I won't. But yeah, so that's my only little point there. I'm just saying, and I'm going to try, and when I get back from London, I'm going to try and collate up my Etsy items and see what's readily listable on eBay. I haven't yet sorted out Shopify. It's on my cards to start doing that, but I haven't got to it. So I think I'm probably going to put some things up on eBay again before I get my Shopify sorted. Or I might just open the Shopify and start listing things there. We'll see how we go. I'll let you know next week. But yeah, that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching me. If you are in my Needle Minder of the Month Club or have bought things from me, thank you so very much. Honestly, it makes such a difference to me. And that's it. And I'll see you next week with, hopefully, a whole lot more stitching done. Bye-bye, guys.